13 secret houses of the Black Nobility. House of the Snake, Sforza. The House of Sforza are a powerful Italian bloodline from Milan closely related to the Visconti family. Both the Sforza and Visconti families use a serpent eating a child on their coat of arms, which displays their wicked nature. The character of Hannibal Lecter is supposed to be a descendant of the Sforza family. The four-term Prime Minister of Italy, Silvio Berlusconi, was born in Milan where these families ruled, and he was the leader of the Forza political party in Italy. Both Sforza and Forza mean force. Silvio Berlusconi has a lot of connections with the Italian mafia and was a member of the P2 Masonic Lodge, which was known for political corruption and part of a shadow government involved with the Vatican, Italian media, Italian intelligence agencies, and criminal organizations like the right-wing fascist group called the Nuclei Armati Rivoluzionari and Magliano Mafia. Silvio Berlusconi has a monopoly in Italian broadcasting and is worth more than 7 billion. The Italian judge Paolo Borsellino, who was a member of the anti-mafia pool, spoke out against Silvio Berlusconi shortly before he was assassinated by the Sicilian mafia. The Sforza family are political bloodline of the Illuminati and involved in media, while the Visconti family are more directly involved in entertainment and Hollywood. Some etymologists suggest that the name Milan derives from the Latin word mediolanum, which is similar to media. Milan is considered an international media center. Princess Beatrice Borromeo is a reporter who has worked with Newsweek and the Daily Beast and went to the University of Milan, just as Milan is connected with the media. Princess Beatrice has Sforza ancestry through intermarriage between the Sforza and Borromeo families. Luchino Visconti was a theater, opera, and cinema director, and he also worked with some American actors. Although no direct ties with the Visconti family, Tony Visconti is a record producer who has worked with the Beatles and with David Bowie. The Teatro dell'Opera di Roma was designed by Achille Sfondrini from Milan. Sfondrini similar to Sforza, and he was from Milan. These families have a portion of oversight in Hollywood and the media from Rome and through its extensive power in society. The Savoy Genovese crime family. Vittorio Emanuele IV is the Prince of Naples and has a residence in Geneva, Switzerland. The Savoy family governed Geneva for a period of time in service to the Vatican. The Genovese crime family take their name from Vito Genovese, who was born in a Naples commune just as Vittorio is the Prince of Naples. Genovese is a surname for someone from Genoa, Italy, or from Geneva, Switzerland. Genoa or Geneva in Italian is the same word as Geneva is Swiss. Prince Vittorio is married to Princess Marina Doria, who was born in Switzerland. The Doria family were one of the most powerful banking families in Genoa for centuries. The Savoy family put the fascist dictator Benito Mussolini in power, who established the Vatican as a sovereign nation through the Lateran Treaty of 1929. Prince Vittorio Emanuele IV has numerous criminal charges against him, including murder, association with organized crime, corruption, and exploitation of prostitution. He tends to get off on all his charges though. Prince Vittorio was also a member of the P2 Masonic Lodge, which was involved with the Vatican, Italian government, Italian media, and organized crime like the Nuclei Armati Rivoluzionari fascist paramilitary group and Banda della Magliana or Magliana Mafia. Prince Vittorio is the hidden owner of the Genovese crime family, which have infiltrated Wall Street and are extorting businessmen in the United States. Donald Trump used the Genovese-owned S&A Concrete to build his condos in Manhattan. Trump used Roy Cohn as an attorney, who also worked for the former mafia bosses Tony Salerno and John Gotti. Donald Trump purchased property from the mafia hitman Salvatore Testa to build his casino in Atlantic City. The Italian mafia have always controlled Atlantic City and use the casinos to launder their personal profits. Donald Trump is a front man for the 5 families of New York City, which are controlled by the Italian nobility. Ivana Trump dated Prince Raffaello Gaetani. The Gaetani d'Aquila d'Aragona family of Italy covertly control the Gambino crime family, and one of its original bosses was named Salvatore d'Aquila. Torlonia banking family. The House of Torlonia are the top bankers in society and the Vatican's treasurers. The Torlonia family are overseeing the United States Treasury and private Swiss bank accounts of the Italian nobility. The French word tour means tower, and the Torlonia family have French ancestry. Lonia is like loan. Torlonia means loan tower. They oversee the Bank for International Settlements in Switzerland, which is designed as a tower and is stealing wealth from the central banks around the world through fraudulent tax contracts. The Vatican and Swiss cantons have been in contract for centuries, and that is why the Swiss Guard protects the Vatican city-state today. The Geneva flag uses a papal key on it. The UBS Bank also uses papal keys for its logo. Switzerland and the Vatican city-state are the only two nations on the planet that use the square-shaped flag. Switzerland is basically a papal state. The Torlonia family are closely connected with the House of Savoy, who have ruled over regions of Switzerland. Prince Vittorio Emanuele IV of Savoy has a residence in Geneva today. The Torlonia family intermarried with the Borghese banking family of Rome. Pope Paul V or Camillo Borghese founded the Bank of the Holy Spirit in 1605, and it more recently merged with Banca di Roma, which merged with Capitalia and then merged with Unicredit and went into contract with Santander, Warburg Pincus, and General Atlantic. These contracts ended in July 2016, right after it was exposed. Unicredit is a popular bank in Europe and its headquarters is in Rome. The House of Torlonia is also intermarried with the Gival banking family of France and the royal family of Luxembourg. The Torlonia family were a branch of the Conti-di-Sini family of Italy that moved to France and intermarried with French Alsatian bankers before returning to Italy as the House of Torlonia. They have deep connections with French bankers and recently married into the royal family of Luxembourg. The Borghese family have a dragon on their coat of arms and they live in Rome. Drago, similar to Draghi, is the Italian word for dragon. Mario Draghi was born in Rome, was Jesuit educated from the Massimiliano Massimo Institute, and he is one of the most powerful bankers in society as president of the European Central Bank. Mario Draghi is also on the board of directors for the Bank for International Settlements and a member of the Group of 30. The Torlonia and Borghese families have a great deal of concealed wealth and own various palaces throughout Italy. Benito Mussolini rented the Torlonia villa in Rome from the Torlonia family. These banking families are funding and managing secret societies in the United States who serve Rome. Members of the Torlonia crime family include Don Guido Torlonia, Count Alessandro Lecquio Torlonia, and of the Borghese crime family is Prince Lorenzo Borghese. House of Massimo. Prince Fabrizio Massimo Brancaccio is a top owner of the Vatican, and he also controls most of the Sicilian Mafia and Roman Mafia clans. Brancaccio is a neighborhood in Sicily where La Cosa Nostra originated. The Massimo family are one of the oldest families of Rome and claim to be the ancient Fabii Maximi dynasty. The Fabii family were known for using the scorched earth military tactic in ancient Rome. The Fabian society uses the wolf in sheep's clothing as their logo. Fabii like Fabian. The Massimo family are married into various royal bloodlines including the House of Savoy, House of Bourbon, and House of Ossorio of Galicia, which controls Amancio Ortega, the second wealthiest billionaire who is worth more than 70 billion. Amancio Ortega, who lives in Galicia, owns Inditex with the store chain called Massimo Dutti. Prince Stefano Massimo married into the British Foxwell family and he is a fashion photographer. Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, is a Vatican Knight of the Order of St. Gregory. Fox is for Foxwell. The fox is considered a cunning animal. Prince Valerio Massimo started an aerospace company called Orctus Industries with Duke Edward Spencer Churchill, who is a relative of the Windsor family. The Massimo family have billions in private Swiss bank accounts. The Swiss Guard protects the Vatican city-state. Switzerland has a law enforcing private bank accounts. The Massimo family are at the top of the global crime syndicate and are involved in every crime imaginable, including murder, extortion, threats, terrorism, human trafficking, money laundering and more. Members of the Massimo crime family include Prince Fabrizio Massimo Brancaccio, Prince Giacomo Massimo Brancaccio, Prince Carlo Massimo, Prince Stefano Massimo, Prince Valerio Massimo, Foxwell, and Prince Filippo Massimo Lancelotti II. Cunctando restituit is part of a Latin phrase used by the Maximus clan which means one man, by delaying, restored the state to us. The Massimo family are the top of the global crime syndicate and consider themselves the corporate owners of the states or governments. Don Stefano Massimo, the Prince of Roccasecca. The name Stefano means crowned and the name Massimo means greatest. Prince Stefano Massimo is the greatest crown among the royal families. The Massimo family are top owners of the Holy See Corporation and a top bloodline in the global crime syndicate. House of Aldobrandini. The Aldobrandini family is an influential Illuminati bloodline involved with the Vatican and banking, and they also produced one pope and several cardinals. The name Aldobrandini derives from the Arabic word Aldebaran, which means the follower. The Aldobrandini clan came into Europe during the Moorish invasion and have an Arabic and Basque ancestry. Ignatius Loyola, who was a co-founder of the Jesuits and its first superior general, was of Basque descent and likely related with this family. They follow after the Massimo family and have intermarried with the Massimo Lancelotti branch. The Massimo's Vatican came first and the Jesuits followed after, just as Aldebaran means the follower. The Jesuits are the modern-day cult of Hades and operate as Roman intelligence and infiltrators. The Italian nobility uses its Jesuit universities to recruit Roman spies and agents. Cinzio Passeri Aldobrandini was a Roman Catholic cardinal, and there is the Reaper of Death statue with a sickle at his tomb at San Pietro in Vincoli along with the Aldobrandini coat of arms. Princess Olympia Aldobrandini is married to Baron David René de Rothschild, who is the head of the French Rothschild family and currently the head of N.M. Rothschild and Sons today. In Judaism, the Jewish lineage is passed down from the mother, so it should be a Roman Catholic Rothschild Aldobrandini that inherits the Rothschild Bank. The Aldobrandini also merged a family branch with the Borghese banking family, who created the Bank of the Holy Spirit in 1605, which eventually merged into Unicredit. The Aldobrandini crime family are involved with pedophilia, satanic ritual abuse, human sacrifice, murder, conspiring against foreign governments and terrorism. Members of the Aldobrandini crime family include Prince Camillo Aldobrandini, Don Clemente Aldobrandini, and Princess Olympia Aldobrandini Rothschild. House of Bourbon. The King of Spain is the head of the Order of Montesa, which is the continuation of the Knights Templar of Aragon. The Knights Templar cartel in Mexico and others are controlled by the Spanish House of Bourbon and other Spanish and Italian nobility. Drug cartels are drug merchants, and the Templars were also merchants and bankers. When Pope Benedict XVI visited Mexico, the Knights Templar cartel welcomed him. MS-13 is a branch of the Mexican Mafia and operate in the United States, serving their interests, and they are ruthless. Luis Flores founded the Mexican Mafia. Flores means a flower. The House of Bourbon use the fleur-de-lis on their coat of arms. Fleur means flower. Mexico is controlled by Spain and some Italian-Spanish nobility like the Gaetani and Ruspoli families. Jeb Bush was the former governor of Florida, and Duke Francisco de Bourbon of Seville was the CEO of the Bank of Miami. Jeb Bush is a fourth-degree Knight of Columbus, and his wife Columba Bush is from Guanajuato, Mexico, where the Knights Templar cartel are located. George Bush owns large amounts of property in Texas near the border. King Juan Carlos of Spain spent Thanksgiving at the Bush Ranch several years back. The Bush family are working with the House of Bourbon and use their power and wealth to assist the cartels and the Mexican Mafia in trafficking drugs, weapons, and humans across the border. Former President Vicente Fox was Jesuit educated. The Jesuits settled in Sinaloa, where one of the largest syndicates, the Sinaloa cartel, are located. The political leaders in Mexico are deeply connected with the Vatican and Spanish Crown. Organized crime is involved with trafficking women and children. The Mexican mafia are also connected with the satanic Aztec cult of blood drinkers. In Spain, an estimated 300,000 babies were stolen from Roman Catholic Spanish hospitals under Franco and the House of Bourbon, and this has been reported in the media. Doria Sacchetti Bank. Goldman Sachs is being overseen by the Doria Pamphilj and Sacchetti families of Italy. The Doria name derives from Doria and Oro or Do, which are Italian words for gold. The Doria family started out as a banking family from Genoa. The Sacchetti and Sachs name both mean bags or sacks. Italian nobility usually have the highest authority in society through Rome's network of power. There are numerous Jesuit-educated top executives working for Goldman Sachs as well as Vatican Knights. Peter Oppenheimer is on the board of directors for Goldman Sachs and was Jesuit-educated from Santa Clara University. Lakshmi Mittal is another member of Goldman Sachs board of directors, and he was Jesuit-educated from St. Xavier's College of Kolkata, India. Edward Gerald Corrigan was a former president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, was Jesuit-educated from Fordham University, and is currently managing director in the office of the chairman at Goldman Sachs and is chairman for Goldman Sachs USA. The Roman-born Mario Draghi, who is president of the European Central Bank, board member for the Bank for International Settlements, and member of the G30, was Jesuit-educated from the Massimiliano Massimo Institute in Rome. Mario Draghi previously worked as vice chairman and the managing director of Goldman Sachs International. Peter Sutherland is a Vatican Knight of the Order of St. Gregory, Jesuit-educated from Gonzaga College, Bilderberg member, former director for the Royal Bank of Scotland, and director of the GIT, and he worked as non-executive chairman of Goldman Sachs International. Jeffrey Boise is a Roman Knight of Malta, Jesuit-educated from Boston College, member of the Trilateral Commission, trustee for the Papal Foundation, and worked as a top executive for Goldman Sachs for decades as well as J.P. Morgan and Freddie Mac. Eileen Rominger was Jesuit-educated from Fairfield University, Director of Investment Management at the United States Security and Exchange Commission, and she was the Global Chief Investment Officer of Goldman Sachs Asset Management. The head of the Sacchetti family today is Prince Urbano Sacchetti of Rome, and the head of the Doria family is Prince Jonathan Doria Pamphilj. House of Orsini. The Orsini family of Rome, the Orsini-Rosenberg family of Austria, and the Rosenberg family of Bohemia control Rosicrucianism, which is a secret society of alchemists. These families all use the rose on their coat of arms. The Rosicrucian order is also called the Order of the Rosy Cross. Alchemy is the manipulation of the human psyche and biology through chemicals. The FDA and most food and drug companies are controlled by Rosicrucians. The Orsini family were behind the Ebola propaganda and had developed deadly Ebola vaccines. The creator of the Georgia Guidestones, which aimed to regulate the population of humanity, used the name R.C. Christian as an alias and was really Robert C. Cook, an American geneticist involved in population control and eugenics. RCC like Roman Catholic Church and like Rosy Cross. The Rosicrucians made a YouTube video placing a time cube with them and 16 on it. For 2016 together meant 2016. They intended to unleash a fake outbreak in 2016 to bring down the United States and destroy society with their deadly vaccines. The depictions shown of the Ebola virus under a microscope look like an 2 8s. 8 plus 8 equals 16. The Japanese movie called Virus used a virus called MM88 designed by an American eugenicist. Once this was all exposed, the Ebola propaganda ended within the week. They are behind Zika too. Vaccines are one of the most destructive tools the wicked use on humanity and are primarily designed to target the nervous system and weaken a person's spiritual armor or electromagnetic shield. The Orsini and Rosenberg families were also responsible for the Black Plague. They hired people to poison well water in order to spread the disease. The song Ring O' Roses goes back to the times of the Black Plague. They used rose petals to mask the smell of death. I also found 2 people with the name Rosenberg that work in high-level positions at Bayer today. The Colonna family of Rome work closely with the Orsini family and are also involved with pharmaceuticals. Stefano Colonna developed the Julia Colonna epoxidation, which is used by Bayer and Evonik today. The Julia Colonna epoxidation is used for binding toxic chemicals with human enzymes. Farnese military bloodline. The House of Farnese established the Jesuits as a military order through the papal bull, Regimini Militantis Ecclesiae under Pope Paul III or Alessandro Farnese. The Farnese family lived in a pentagonal fortress called the Farnese Villa Caprarola in Italy, and this is the basis for the U.S. Pentagon. The leader of the Jesuits is called the Superior General of the Society of Jesus because the Jesuits are a military order. The Jesuits' first general Ignatius Loyola was connected with the Alumbrados of Spain. The Spanish word alumbrados means Illuminati, and they existed more than 200 years before the Bavarian Illuminati. Jesuit alumni dominate leadership positions in U.S. military and intelligence as well as politics and law. The Farnese family ruled Parma and Castro of Italy, and today the princes of Bourbon-Parma covertly have authority in the U.S. Pentagon and U.S. military through their Jesuit intelligence. The Farnese bloodline are intermarried with the House of Bourbon of Spain and also created the Bourbon-Parma branch in Italy, which are intermarried with Dutch royalty, Belgian nobility, and the royal family of Luxembourg. Prince Édouard de Lobkowicz of Belgium married Princess Marie-Françoise of Bourbon-Parma. Prince Édouard was a banker for Chase Manhattan Bank, worked for several investment firms, and was also an ambassador for the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, which is stationed in Rome. The Nassau-Weilburg family of Luxembourg have Farnese blood, and Grand Duke Henri of Luxembourg is titled as Prince of Bourbon-Parma as the grandson of Prince Felix of Bourbon-Parma. The Farnese family were the Dukes of Castro and Parma, and they branched into Spain. The Castro family of Cuba originated from Spain and are really the modern Dukes of Castro with Farnese blood. Elizabeth Farnese II was the Queen of Spain, and she married into the Bourbon family. Prince Carlos of Bourbon-Parma, who is the nephew of Queen Beatrix, has worked for the Dutch bank ABN AMRO, which has a merger with the Saudi Hollandi Bank of Saudi Arabia, and Prince Carlos' work was involved in implementing the euro. Prince Carlos also worked for the European Public Policy Advisors in Belgium. Today the Bourbon King of Spain holds the title of King of Jerusalem as well as most of the monarchical titles of Italy, and has Parma blood, however without any Parma princely title. The House of Bourbon govern Spain and ceremonially rule over Vaticana Hill. They are one of the most powerful royal bloodlines on the earth. The House of Bourbon control a lot of Mexico and South America, and control many of the politicians and much of the organized crime in Latin America. Members of the Farnese bloodline today are Prince Carlos of Bourbon-Parma, Prince Jaime of Bourbon-Parma, Grand Duke Henri of Luxembourg, Juan Carlos of Spain, and at the head of this bloodline is Prince Carlo of Bourbon II Sicilies. Prince Carlo of Bourbon II Sicilies, the Duke of Castro, is the highest-level member of the Farnese bloodline today, and he is one of the highest authorities in Rome's global crime syndicate. Prince Carlos is the sovereign head of the Sacred Military Constantinian Order of St. George and the Royal Order of St. Francis I. He has worked in Manhattan and has a portion of ownership and authority in the Sicilian Mafia and 5 families of New York. Fitzjames crime family. The House of Alba-de-Tombs are a top bloodline in the global crime syndicate. Alba really refers to their true origins in Auburn Hills, making them relatives of the Colonna family which ruled that region. Doña Maria Alvarez de Toledo of the House of Alba married Diego Colon, the son of Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was really a Colonna, and that is why the Columbus name often gets translated to Colon. Colonna and Columbus both mean column. The city of Alba-de-Tombs is located in Salamanca province, which uses columns on its flag just as the House of Colonna use a column on their coat of arms. The Alban clans likely settled in Salamanca during Pope Alexander III's reign around 1175 when they built Roman cathedrals. They evolved the name Alba to Alva, creating the name Alvarez, which is a popular Spanish name. The House of Alba are intermarried with the Scottish House of Stuart and their cadet branch the House of Fitzjames. This makes them related to the House of Windsor and House of Spencer through their Scottish lineage, and that is why they often use the name Stuart, like Don Carlos Fitzjames Stuart. They are related to the Colonna family, who have a portion of ownership over the Holy See, and the Fitzjames Alba family are dukes in Spain under the House of Bourbon. All of these connections make them very high level. Fernando Alvarez de Toledo, 3rd Duke of Alba, was also governor of Milan and viceroy of Naples, and during his rule he made an agreement with the Pope known as the Treaty of Cavo, which returned the town of Cavo, Lazio to the Colonna family after the Della Rovere Pope had seized it from them. The House of Alba de Tormes is covertly serving the Colonna family even as dukes in Spain. They have a harp on their coat of arms which refers to an authority over harp which is used for mind control in society. In ancient times they used harps and poems for subtle mind control over populations. The harps and poems were designed to put people into a trance. The USAF's harp system is named in reference to their ancient harp mind control. Columbia University graduate Deborah Lee James was secretary of the USAF until the recent Trump administration, and she was an agent of the House of Fitzjames and Dukes of Alba. She likely appointed their agents to run their harp system, which they still have some authority over. Members of the criminal House of Fitzjames Alba include Don Carlos Fitzjames Stuart, 19th Duke of Alba, and Don Fernando Fitzjames Stuart, 15th Duke of Huascar. Pallavicini crime family. The Pallavicini family is a top bloodline in the global crime syndicate, and they govern Palatine Hill in Rome. They had multiple family branches in Italy and Austria and ancestry from Athens, Greece. The Pallavicini family married with the Rospigliosi papal nobility and also have a branch in London through the Cromwell family. Horatio Pallavicino was a financier for the British Crown, and his family merged with the Cromwells. The Pallavicini family ruled over ancient Parthia or Iran, and the Pahlavi dynasty that ruled Iran more recently are an ancestral branch of the Pallavicini family. Pahlavi is a term for the ancient Parthian language. Giancarlo Pallavicini from Milan was an economist and advisor for the Soviet government. Sergio Pallavicini of Milan runs ISIS-Core Islamic educational, scientific and cultural organization, and he is also the advisor for Islamic affairs in Italy. Nasser David Khalili is a Jewish-British-Iranian billionaire and Vatican Knight of the Order of St. Sylvester and trustee of the City of Jerusalem, and serves the Pallavicini family. Mahmoud Kayami is a French-Iranian millionaire residing in London who helped found the Iran National Company, and he is also a Knight of the Order of St. Sylvester. Elvina Pallavicini was known for supporting the United States' war on Iraq. Iran and Iraq have been rivals and enemies. Prince Moello Dias della Vittoria Pallavicini and Prince Sigeri Dias della Vittoria Pallavicini are top powers in Rome and the world. The Pallavicini family own Immobiliare, a multi-billion-dollar real estate development company, Global Wealth Management, GWM, an international finance firm, and are invested in Greentech, which is for renewable energies. GWM is located in Milan, Rome, London, Malta, Geneva, and Luxembourg. They run Rottapalm Pharmaceuticals and Prelios Asset Management. Alfonso Pallavicini was a top executive for BNP Paribas, an international banking group with assets worth nearly $2 trillion. Members of the Pallavicini crime family include Prince Sigeri Pallavicini, Prince Moello Pallavicini, Marquis Alfonso Pallavicini, Sergio Pallavicini, and Prince Filippo Rospigliosi. Ruspoli crime family. The Ruspoli family is one of the most wicked criminal bloodlines, and they are top owners of the Vatican with princely titles all over Italy and Spain. The Ruspoli family are also intermarried with the House of Sforza and are involved with Italian banking. Prince Alessandro Ruspoli was a direct descendant of the Matarazzo family of Brazil. The Matarazzo family originated in Italy before immigrating to Brazil. Count Francisco Matarazzo founded Industrias Reunidas Matarazzo S.A., which was one of the largest companies in Brazil, and Prince Alessandro Dado Ruspoli inherited a portion of its wealth from his mother Claudia de Conti Matarazzo. The Ruspoli family have some authority over the South American drug cartels. Prince Dado Ruspoli was also an actor and in the movie Godfather 3, which is one of the many examples of Hollywood glorifying the Italian mafia. Tao Ruspoli, who is the son of Dado Ruspoli, is in the entertainment industry and was married to the actress Olivia Wilde, who covertly manages a satanic cult in Hollywood today. Dado's other son Bart Ruspoli is married into the Getty family, who established Getty Oil Company. Jean-Paul Getty was considered the wealthiest man in America in his time. Prince Lelio Ruspoli Sforza was a top executive for Banca Romana and worked under the Italian Bank of the South. Prince Lelio Ruspoli Sforza was also the Italian High Commissioner of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta and ambassador for the SMUM. Marquis Luis Ruspoli, who died in 2011, was also a Knight of Malta. The Ruspoli family have two grapevines on their coat of arms. Grapes and wine are often used as metaphors for blood by the Illuminati. The Roman Catholic Church drinks wine as a metaphor for the blood of Christ. Members of the Ruspoli crime family include the very wicked Prince Lelio Ruspoli Sforza, Carlo Emanuele Maria Ruspoli, Prince Francesco Ruspoli, Princess Giacinta Ruspoli, Tao Ruspoli, Bart Ruspoli, and Don Enrique Jaime Ruspoli. House of Habsburg, Hesse and Rothschild. Karl von Habsburg is a politician, banker, businessman, Knight of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta in Rome, and the Austrian Grand Master of the Order of the Golden Fleece. The Habsburg family were the emperors of the Eastern Holy Roman Empire, and they also ruled over most of Switzerland in the past. They lost their remaining territories in Austria and Hungary after the Nazi regime and are currently being propped up by Rome to lead in the imperial takeover agenda with the motivation of reclaiming their former reign. The Habsburg family have always served Rome as Knights of Malta. Today Eduard Habsburg Lorraine is a Knight of the Order of the Golden Fleece and the Hungarian ambassador to the Holy See and SMUM. Karl von Habsburg is now overseeing various Holy Roman princes like Landgrave Donatus of Hesse. The name Hesse has etymological connections with Hest, which means in English to command and in Greek means horse. The House of Hesse are imperial equestrians or knights that command armies and paid soldiers even to this day. Hessians were German mercenary soldiers that served the British Crown and even fought in the American Revolution on the side of the British. The Order of the Golden Fleece takes its name from Greek mythology. The Golden Fleece was a prize of kingship offered to Jason and other false heroes to fight for their interests. The term man on the white horse refers to false heroes who seek fame and fortune. Alex Jones is a primary example of this, as he pretends to be opposed to corruption while he works for them for money and fame. Shilling was the name of Austrian currency until the euro, and this is where the term shill comes from. Shills like Alex Jones of InfoWars and Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change are on the payrolls of Austrian princes. Baron Benjamin de Rothschild is a French-Swiss banker and chairman of the Edmond de Rothschild Group and worth about 1.6 billion, although he claims to be worth about 6 billion. His father Edmond Adolf de Rothschild was a Knight of the Legion of Honor, and he established their banking group. Baron Benjamin de Rothschild's great-grandfather Edmund James de Rothschild was a Zionist who purchased large amounts of land in Palestine and helped to establish Israel. One of their subsidiaries, Bank Privée Edmond de Rothschild, does a lot of business in Israel as well as in Europe, South America, and Asia. The Swiss Rothschilds that branched off from the French Rothschild family have been given the titles of barons and baronesses in Austria through Alice Charlotte von Rothschild, who willed their estates to James de Rothschild, the great-uncle of Baron Benjamin de Rothschild. The Swiss Rothschilds hold Austrian titles and are serving the Habsburg family of Austria that once ruled over Switzerland. Benjamin Rothschild's mother is Nadine de Rothschild, born Nadine L'Hospitalier, and she was a Roman Catholic that converted to Judaism. She is an Austrian baroness that owns a castle in Switzerland. The name Hospitalia means hospital, and this uncommon last name was established and taken by members of the Knights Hospitaller, a branch of the Knights of Malta. The Swiss Rothschilds are the court factors for the House of Habsburg and fund their knights like the House of Hesse. The Rothschild family originate from Frankfurt, which is a German state of Hesse. The House of Habsburg have often used Jewish court factors throughout history, like Jacob Abasevi von Trauenberg, Joachim Edler von Popper, and Israel Edler von Königsberg.